Hey guys, hope you've been enjoying the numerology series so far. It's been a pleasure sharing about those, but I'd like to switch gears a bit today, and I'd like to discuss something very prominent today, especially in the spiritual community, especially for those that are just waking up. And that's kind of what they're really playing on. By day, I mean this false light. Many aren't aware of this potential false light because, they've kind of discovered the false system already, right? The many are simply waking up out of the first set of matrices, which is really the government, politics, entertainment business around us, these kind of more physical levels of control that we have in this realm currently, right? A lot of the people in higher places are definitely manipulated, and some of us haven't made that connection that maybe potentially by beings outside of this realm, outside of our current dimension of perception, but some of us have. Okay, some of us know about the actual beings that exist outside of this reality, and for those that kind of have, we may have, and me included, I've definitely gone through this and I've witnessed it myself. We may have found ourselves drawn to these very hopeful messages that we hear, where it be through books, channeled material, specifically on YouTube, channeled messages directly, where people may embody that being, through their own body, actually. And the being is actually speaking for them, right? The person embodying, doing the channeling, is in a sort of trance state in which they're kind of outside their body, right? So that makes sense, kind of with what most of us may know, that we are more than just this body. We are also this soul form, and we are more than that. We are source, literally incarnate. But the soul can step out of this body, and that's how things like astral travel can happen, things where we have these out-of-body experiences, yet we're still connected to that body through what is known as a silver cord. And what many don't understand is that this can potentially actually be very damaging to your DNA. See, your DNA basically contains all the knowledge that you ever need. Many have discovered that source is literally written in the DNA, right? And I don't know how true this actually may be, but it was translated by the one guy that's really popular. I forgot his name. David Wilcock, I think, no, or Gregory Hayden, one of these guys. And they said that in the DNA, it literally says, "I am God," right? Now, whether that is true or not, I do believe that our DNA holds the light codes necessary for us, and potentially are being activated by the sun and the codes that are being transmitted from them through these stronger and stronger activities, solar activities. But the thing is, when you let another being kind of come into your body like that, another soul, there's a bit of mismatch, because that body is not made structurally for that soul. That body is made for you, right? The being in that soul, in the body. And especially if that being has a negative connotation to their encoding already, right? So, for example, if they have fallen into this illusion that they are separate from source, and they've kind of separated themselves from that energetic fulfillment, from that re-energizing that should constantly happen, kind of like our own bodies, right? That's why we age and die so quickly. We've kind of been cut off energetically from source because of our actions previously and our own choices, and we're kind of working our way back up through these light codes, through these ascension mechanics. But the thing is, what are these true ascension mechanics, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at with the messages being presented in this channeled material. A lot of it doesn't really teach you anything. A lot of it is mainly just kind of hope hopefulness, right? Kind of keeping you in a state of perpetual waiting, right? Whether it's saying that, some Messiah is coming to save you, or in another form as, the Galactic Federation or other extra dimensional beings who may also not have the best intentions for us. It's still keeping us in a state of imbalance, right? We're constantly waiting for something outside of ourselves to come balance us, and that's not what ascension is about. Ascension really isn't about having someone else do the work for you, right? It's making yourself a match to that higher vibration, because you are the only one that really can do the work for you, right? Yeshua wasn't waiting for another Yeshua to come save him, right? And by Yeshua, I mean those that know him as Jesus, even though that I don't believe that was his real name, and potentially may not even have been Yeshua, who knows? But this person that really came with higher genetic codes, right? Because these codes, what they do is they help, first of all, maintain a higher vibration here. And when you maintain this higher vibration, you more easily see through the illusions being presented here. So these, people that have a stronger affinity towards spirituality, towards esoteric material, towards thinking outside of the box, will not only think outside of the box, but will think outside multiple boxes, because there are multiple traps being laid out. This wasn't an easy thing to do coming here. There's multiple traps laid out, especially in the spiritual community. People have this impression that Thoth or Isis or these beings that are so commonly known were, doing a good service. And it's easy to believe that. Of course, we want to believe that there are people that are helping us and they are supporting us, and I fully believe that as well. I'm not saying it's all negative and dark, but you have to be aware of the traps that have been set out. You have to be aware that, hey, at some point in our timeline structures, however it may work, because I have no idea, everything seems to overlap, there was some beings that intruded, that kind of fell to temptation. Because what is temptation? Temptation means that you were naturally good. Otherwise, it can't tempt you. You can't tempt someone to do something good. They're tempted by something outside of their natural way of living, which was love and wisdom. These, I believe, to be the core principles of source of everything, right? I don't think source is innately dark in any sense. I don't think source wants to cause any suffering in any sense to these beings, to anyone, to itself, because it is itself. Source loves itself. Yes, sometimes a catalyst needs to be provided, in a sense, but I don't believe it would intentionally make someone suffer. So at some point, this Thoth being, right, known by many other names, and one of them may even potentially be Lucifer or Enki, created a sort of web of darkness. And that's why we have this, I think, magnet. It's a magnetic field. It's a web, an archon. Archons are known to be a spider-like beings, AI, functioning on the web. We have the World Wide Web, which is what? Created by the CIA. It means it actually reduces to 666. These are the things you need to start making connections with and saying, hey, what have these channeled messages really been giving me besides this temporary euphoria that, hey, everything's going to be all right? And that's great. That's reassuring. That's always good. But how is it different from the government telling you everything's going to be all right and then going and bombing several countries, right? It's about being aware of these things. So, when you hear things from, for example, the Galactic Federation, okay, and then you start to ask questions. Well, where are you guys from? Who are you guys? Oh, well, we live on Saturn. Okay, well, why do you live on Saturn? Saturn doesn't seem to have the highest frequency currently. What's going on with that? Why isn't it reflecting a much brighter vibration like the sun, whereas it's very dark and has these artificial rings around it, which give off a frequency of the what's it called, the hexagon, or the hexagram even, which also is base consciousness, which is 666, which is the ego, right? And they're basically setting themselves up as saviors. There's such a thing as the long con, where you basically con somebody, you trick someone for a very long period of time until it's finally time to unleash the plan, right? To unfold the critical point of that plan. So, yeah, what I'm trying to say is there exist these beings that portray themselves as very light, right? A very beautiful in appearance, because that's what attracts people the most, the beauty of something, the packaging, right? But people aren't willing to dig deep. They can be very shallow. They can be very afraid of what's behind the curtain. And simply because it looks and sounds beautiful doesn't mean it is beautiful to its core, right? If you don't feel that loving vibration, if you don't raise your own vibration more to be able to see past the packaging, the imagery, you will be deluded, right? Many people can fall into this trap because they haven't been doing the work, and then they have been slowly doing the work, right? They're trying to get on their way, and they're getting, and then all of a sudden a roadblock comes in, and boom, like a gatekeeper, and they're saying, oh yeah, we'll just keep you here for a while, and we give you all these nice loving messages, and they stop doing work, and they don't get past that hurdle, and they don't see it for what it really is. You can always ask these beings to show their true form, right? If you feel suspicious in any way, and you're having some sort of vision, you ask them to show their true form. You go and touch them, and if they disintegrate, if they melt away, that wasn't their true form. That was a fake, a hologram, right? Holograms are persistent in every dimension. We, in essence, are holograms to the second dimension. Here, it feels very physical because it's hologram against hologram, right? Just like in a video game. But in other dimensions, the holograms are very persistent as well. It's the same way. You can create these holograms. And, people think that the fifth dimension may only be maybe where, all the love starts. Well, these beings are very advanced themselves, right? And they could go even up all the way to 11th dimension, but there are multiple dimensions, in my opinion, past the 12th dimension, past 20, 30, you can go up to the millions. Why wouldn't source be absolutely infinite? Why would it stop at 13 or 14th dimension, right? Now, the more you raise yourself, your own vibration, the more you'll be able to see these traps. There are beings that have come into this reality with higher codes, higher DNA templates. For example, you may have heard of the indigos. These indigos can run higher than the base 12 strand DNA, which is 12 dimensions, 12 dimensional frequencies. You have to at least incorporate that 12 dimensional frequency, in my opinion, to be able to see past a lot of these traps that you may encounter in the spiritual community down the line. And these indigos can hold 24, 36, 48, and some of these crystallized or crystalline beings being born into babies currently may hold even higher, and that's also for the purpose of raising the vibration, holding higher templates and seeing past the spiritual traps that we may be encountering currently, right? I mean, yeah, we thought we broke out of 1 or 2 or 3 matrices, and hey, that's that. But what makes you wonder, or doesn't it make you think that there may be more? Like there may be other things. That was just the physical. Now you're dealing with the spiritual. The spiritual people, everyone wants to astral travel, everyone wants to do all these out-of-body things without fully knowing, like, hey, there could be things in the astral, it could be things in higher dimensions that may not necessarily have the best intentions for us, okay? Now, these are just my thoughts, in a sense. They're things I've been concluding and I've been kind of picking up more intuitively down the line as well. So, do your own research, come up with your own ideas, facilitate your own critical thinking, and see beyond your own illusions, right? Many times we think we're the ones that hold all the right answers, and any other opinion that contradicts ours is wrong. But that I'm just planting ideas, right? Potentials. So keep doing your work. Don't rely on any savior, whether it's a messiah or ETs or anything like that, to really do the work for you, right? Or offer some method of escape for you, because just study a little bit of history. Try and study what happened with Atlantis, with Lemuria. When did all of this negativity really start? Because in my opinion, it's quite abnormal, right? We've been used to insanity as the normal, but there was a time before insanity, right? I mean, look at the moon. There was a time before the moon, right? And this moon, I feel, really gives a perfect portrayal of what false light really is. You know, try and study the moon. Try and study why did it ring like a bell when they conducted experiments? Why does it look so holographic in nature at times? Why do people act crazier in times of a full moon? Why does it affect these people emotionally and mentally? Right? Why is our mind not being used to our advantage, but rather is such a strong programmable thing, right? Why has the divine masculine been so disturbed in that essence in terms of wisdom, and then, you know, on the outside being more of an attack on the divine feminine and a stifling of their intuition, right? Making them kind of go against their own nature. So just some things to think about that were on my mind today, and I thought I'd share. Hope you guys enjoyed. If, you know, for more discussion, leave a comment, like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos that I'll be coming out with. So take care.